Hey everyone, it's Maya Loren, and today's video is going to be a little bit different. I am going to be sharing the top 10 things that I wish I would have known before coming to Harvard. When I say that I have changed tremendously since the beginning of the semester to now, that would pretty much be an understatement. I kind of don't even recognize who I am now in terms of how much I've learned and how much I've grown, but there are still some things that I wish I would have known before even stepping foot onto campus. And the first thing is that not everyone will accept you for who you are. And what I mean by that is that there was a little bit of a shock when I first came onto campus in terms of like people who were accepting of me and people who weren't, as well as like in the Boston/Cambridge area. The simple fact that I'm a minority did create a little bit of challenges, but at the end of the day, the one thing that I've learned, or that I wish I would have known, is that you don't have to be on everyone's friends list, I guess. You don't have to establish these amazing relationships with everyone, which is something that I love doing. At the end of the day, it's just really important for you to find a group of people who allows you to be unapologetically yourself. And a lot of comments on my videos are like, oh my goodness, I love that you have a lot of Black representation in your videos, and I love that like we can see the diversity at Harvard. And to be honest, it's just who I've surrounded myself with. Although the community is not as large as it could be, it's large enough to where we've created our own family and we're so close together, and never have I ever felt like I needed to act differently, speak differently. And honestly, that is what you want. You just need to find the group of people who you could truly trust, because there are also people who just want to take advantage of you and what you have to offer and don't really genuinely care about you. Unfortunately, it's a tough pill to swallow, but it's the sad reality. So Black Harvard, and as we should, I just wanted to say thank you, because you guys have really allowed me to flourish and just truly be myself, which I could not have asked for a greater support system. Now, I gotta kind of sit up for this one. Number 2, you cannot compare yourself to others, because when I say there are literal geniuses at this school, that would literally be an understatement. Like, all the people that you meet will be so amazing, and all of the paths and careers and futures that lie ahead are amazing. The thing is, we all have different paths, we all have different dreams, and so with that being said, we shouldn't really be comparing ourselves to others. And honestly, it's a tad bit hypocritical of me to be preaching, because I was definitely one of the people who compared themselves way more than they should to other people in the beginning of the semester. But now I'm realizing that I am me for a reason. At the end of the day, we're all unique in our own ways, shapes, and forms. So by comparing ourselves to others, it really makes no sense, because we're not meant to be other people, we're meant to be ourselves. And honestly, it took me a really long time to truly internalize this, because it's really hard. You definitely will feel imposter syndrome at this institution. But just know that you're there for a reason. Okay, number 3. Let me come a little closer to this one. The food at Harvard needs to be improved. I'm sorry, I've said it before, but I come from a family of people who cook. I cook myself. And so going to Harvard, where the food was under-seasoned, to say the very least, or looked extremely questionable, yeah, it didn't sit right. Whenever I was watching Harvard videos, no one really talked about the food, so it was a huge shock to me. I cannot stress enough the importance of just bringing your own seasoning. Like, in my dorm, you will find garlic salt, seasoned salt, Valentina, tapatio. You will find tahini. I even have a Chick-fil-A sauce in my room. And just bringing that to the dining hall, or like bringing the food from the dining hall to your room and sprinkling a little bit of something on it, will elevate it so much. It's not very hard to. And I'm very, very appreciative of the food, don't get me wrong, but all I'm saying is, if you had a little bit of seasonings in your corner, Thank me later. Okay, so another thing, if you're like me, for the past 3 years of my life, I have had a consistent job working 20-hour work weeks sometimes or more. So I thought if I could do that, manage school, do all of my extracurriculars, and still have a little bit of extra time, I could definitely have a job my first semester at Harvard. I cannot recommend enough giving yourself the first at least 2 or 3 months or even the whole entire first semester to not have a job. There are so many things offered to freshmen and so many opportunities that I missed out on because I had a job through the almost the beginning of November, which made it incredibly difficult to manage everything. You are going to have classes that have a huge workload. There's going to be all of these social events. There are going to be different resources that you could take advantage of. And having a job that you're trying to manage on top of that made it so difficult for me personally. If I could have went back, that's like probably the number one thing that I would have done, is allow myself to take that much needed time to acclimate to the environment and really just get to know what it's like to be a college student, let alone a Harvard student. So that's one of the biggest things that I definitely wish I would have known before stepping foot onto campus. Okay, number 5, resources. Harvard has so many resources you wouldn't believe. There are office hours almost every day. There are math question centers. There's the academic resource center. There's the career resource center. All of these resources are available to you the second you accept Harvard's offer or any college's offer. So take advantage of all of the resources. Take advantage of all the free stuff. In the beginning, I did not take advantage of these resources nearly as much as I should have. I also was like, oh no, like I don't need help. But honestly, in college, office hours is a completely different vibe. Most of the time, it's just students working collaboratively to get the assignments done. The second I started going to office hours, everything changed. And honestly, I would not have ended the semester as well as I did without office hours, to be honest. So just take advantage of them. Oh my goodness. Number 6. You do not have to be a social butterfly. In the beginning of the year, I was going to all of the socials. I was going to more parties than I really wanted to go to. I was always out late in the study centers and study rooms with my friends, which is fine, but obviously it's less productive. And I just didn't really want to miss out on anything. But a few months into the semester, I realized this isn't going to work. Like, I need to lock myself away by myself to truly get the work done that needs to get done. And let me preface that I do not regret any time spent at any of the events that I went to. I made so many memories that I probably wouldn't have made otherwise. However, I definitely did not have to be a social butterfly, which I felt really obligated to do. I have made such an amazing group of friends, and at this point, there's like this saying in our group where if it's during the week, we won't see Maya and we'll know she's fine, she's doing her own thing. We'll see her on the weekend at some of like the events. And that's what you need. You need a support system who understands that you don't have to be social every second of your college journey. Sometimes you need to kind of lock in, and that's definitely what I did towards the second half of the semester. And I was a little bit more sane, got a little bit more sleep, and was able to be a lot more productive. If it feels like you are putting more of yourself out than you have, just take a break and focus on yourself, which is what I was able to do. Number 7, you will not, and I repeat, will not have as much time in college as you did in high school. I know that in high school you probably had extracurriculars and jobs and class and all of that to manage, but in college the classes are longer, the workload is a little bit heavier. Well, I guess let me take that back. The workload is what you make of it. You get out as much as you put in, and I'm sure most people who are either at Harvard or aspiring to go to Harvard will settle for nothing but A's. I'm the same way. And so if you want that A, you have to put in that work. and it does require time. But there are also so many opportunities and events that you can go to that consist of meeting famous people, hearing people speak, and there's just so much more filling up your schedule. So I would definitely say learn how to time manage. I personally can attest to the fact that going to the gym 6 times a week couldn't happen. It couldn't happen. Or reading a book in a few days, no. So you kind of have to learn to prioritize your hobbies, your school life, your social life, to make sure that you're still being healthy, maintaining some of the things that make you happy, as well as getting enough sleep. Definitely wish I would have known that before. Number 8, sections. Can somebody tell me why I did not know sections were a thing? Okay, let me explain. So in most colleges, they have this thing where you are going to go to your class lecture, let's say Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1:30 to 2:45. And that is what appears when you register for your classes at Harvard. But nowhere on there does it show times where you're required to go to section or labs or workshops. And so when I was making my schedule, my goal was to kind of just have like a lot of morning classes, get all my classes over in the beginning of the week, and give myself the end of the week to be very light. Little did I know that I would have to book my labs and sections and workshops on top of this. So my schedule went from looking pretty heavy in the beginning of the week and light in the end of the week to being heavy the whole week. So just keep that in mind when you're scheduling. Number 9, morning classes. I saw this TikTok where it said an 8 a.m. class in high school is not the same as an 8 a.m. class in college. Preach is all I gotta say. Because throughout high school, I had 7 a.m. classes. And so coming into the semester, I thought 9 a.m. classes would be fine. No, it wasn't fine, especially because with all of the events that Harvard has and with just the office hour times and everything, I didn't go to sleep until like 2, 3, or 4 a.m. and then was expected to wake up at 8 o'clock. Oh my god. Just thinking about it and replaying it in my head, that was such a bad idea. So I have made the promise to myself that I will no longer be taking any classes before 10:30 a.m. Now what you're not gonna do is catch me in a 9 a.m. class, because that was atrocious. And at least with a 10:30, if you were to wake up a little bit earlier, at least you can get some work done before the class. Whereas for my 9 a.m. classes, I automatically just felt like I was rushing, and then by the time I got into my class, I hadn't had breakfast, and it just wasn't cute. So definitely know yourself. If you want those morning classes, go for it. I cannot recommend enough just being realistic with yourself and knowing what's going to work best for your schedule. Last but most certainly not least, just honestly make sure to balance out your classes at Harvard as well as with other colleges. I'm sure we have problem set classes, which is when you get 1, 2, or 3 problem sets or homework assignments a week, which we all know in high school we had to turn in an assignment, and if it was completed, we got the grade. Not the same. Problem sets are not the same. They are graded completely on accuracy, and for example, in my classes, they were worth like 40% of your grade. So you want to make sure that they are 100% accurate, which is very stressful, and they tend to all be due at the same time. I wish I would have known how much more stressful problem set classes are in comparison to other classes, because then I would probably be doing like 2 problem set classes and 2 other classes, whether that be a gen ed or something, just to keep my sanity. So yeah, that's pretty much the top 10 things that I learned this semester. As I said, I've grown so much and I've learned so much. It's unbelievable. But I hope that this helps at least one of you out there, because then that would be a job completed. If you have any questions, please feel free to always reach out to me. Make sure to like, comment any videos that you want to see in the future, as well as subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. Bye guys!